Hello everyone, I'm Braethorn. Welcome to the channel. Now, if you're new to the channel, I generally cover system integrators who make custom PCs or pre-built PCs for you. However, this is one of the few times I actually get to build a PC. And as you may already know, it's been pretty tough to build a PC lately. So what this PC is for is actually the upcoming PAX East convention in Boston, Massachusetts, and that's actually just a little over a week away from where I'm recording this right now. And I don't like laptops. I don't like that they're not, fixable, or you can't really modify them that much. You're very, very limited depending on the model that you get. Yes, I know frameworks laptops are a thing, but their specs are kind of limited in a way that I can't really use. So instead I wanted to make an ITX build for travel. Now, there was one case that always stuck in my mind. It's one that came out last year, and it's from HYTE, and it's called the Revolt 3. So I actually have worked with iBUYPOWER before, and I reached out to them because HYTE is their in-house company, an in-house brand that makes cases for DIY or for pre-builts, and also a couple of peripherals as well. And I asked if they had one. Well, they were generous enough to say, not only do we have one of those, but we have one of the limited edition versions that comes in the flight case, because they knew I was going to be flying with this thing. There were only 230 of these made, and they happened to have one of the few they kept for content creators around, and they sent it to me. That wasn't quite enough help for them. No. They wanted to do more, because certain events happened, and I was thinking I was not going to be able to do this build. And just financially, because parts are a bit expensive. So they stepped in with what they call component support, and they sent me a motherboard and a GPU for the build. So huge shout out. That goes to iBUYPOWER because it's from them. Thank you, iBUYPOWER. And thank you, HYTE, for all the help that you gave me to make this build, this video, this live stream, because I am streaming this right now, possible. Thank you so much. Let's open this thing up and take a look at the case. This is a pretty big case, so there we go. So here it is, the Revolt 3 from HYTE. And it's a fantastic case. It has tons of airflow. There have been a lot of great reviews on this. Some of the things that stuck out to me that would make it good for travel, things like the surprisingly strong retractable handle here. Plus, if you're trying to make a portable setup somewhere, like in a hotel room, having places to hang things on both sides, like your headset, pretty nice. Of course, we're going to be going with my personal recommendation right now if you're buying or building a new PC, which is 12th gen Intel, which is just leading the charts. We're going with the i7 12700K for this because it's a great combination of top tier performance cores, as many performance cores as a 12900K, but fewer efficiency cores. So it takes less juice to run it, and it's still great for video editing, which we're going to be doing on the road. The RAM we're going with is 32 gigs of DDR5. That is 6,000 megatransfers per second. Cast latency 40. Very, very fast. This is ADATA XPG memory. Now for the GPU, this is a Gigabyte Gaming OC RTX 3070 Ti. This GPU was provided by iBUYPOWER for this build, and I cannot thank them enough. The motherboard we're going to be using was also provided by iBUYPOWER, and this is an ASRock Z690 Phantom Gaming ITX TB4 motherboard. Of course, being ITX, this is tiny. This is very small, and that's what you need for a small form factor build. So this case can fit a 280 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler, a 280 millimeter radiator, two 140 millimeter fans, all of that. So that's what we're trying to cram in here tonight with the Corsair iQ H115i Elite Capellix cooler. So this is going to have for this case, some large 140 millimeter maglev fans with RGB. Unnecessary, but it's there and we're going to use it. Now, looking at storage, we're going to be going with a 1 terabyte Western Digital Black SN850 for the operating system and most important programs, and then a 1 terabyte SN550 just for scratch storage, because we are going to be doing some video editing on here and we just need a place to dump footage. Now this, I want to give a special shout out to Lynx96, Lynx96 from the Swarm and from the streams. Lynx96 donated the exact amount that I needed during stream to get this exact power supply, which I cannot thank you enough. Thank you very much, because I ordered it immediately and it was here on time. So thank you. Look at how adorable this thing is. It's freaking cute, man. Okay, let's get the M.2 drives on there ASAP and just get that part over with so I don't lose anything. A little awkward to do this upside down, but what can you do? So yeah, I would like it if every motherboard manufacturer would just automatically just put these in there for you, screw them in there for you so you don't lose them. But what I like that ASUS is doing is that they have the Q clips where it's just a plastic clip that is perfectly positioned to hold down an M.2 drive. Now M.2 drives, you have to slot, this is an M.2 socket right there. Okay, you see that? So you have to install these you slot them in at sort of an angle like this. Okay, and you just sort of get it snug in there. You see how it'll stand on its own? And then this won't feel super great, but you have to push it down just like that and line it up with that hole right there. So you just sort of hold that down gently and then there we go. Now remember, this is gonna be mounted to the chassis. You make sure you're okay with the drive that's being mounted on the back of this. Now we're gonna take care of this other one here. That's gonna be under this heat spreader. Okay, you come in at an angle, sort of wedge it in there, just nudge it in there gently back and forth, and then gently push it down and you're good. They had no business making these screws this tiny. So that's a total of 2 terabytes of storage in this. For a travel system, that's totally fine. And I can honestly add in 2 separate 2.5-inch SSDs or one 2.5-inch SSD and a 3.5-inch mechanical hard drive for mass storage. Okay, so those parts are done. Let's get our memory put in there. This is the ADATA XPG 6,000 megatransfers per second. CL40. This was just reviewed by Wendell of Level 1 Techs very highly. He talked about how fast it is. It's gonna be great for this little system. This kit is also gonna be going to Cuddles for his system. And it's very convenient because I'm gonna be traveling up there with it and then just once we're done with the trip, I take it out of the system, hand it over, he flies back to Canada and then pays his duties when he goes through the gates. There we go. Okay, so this is our socket LGA 1700. Before you lift up the retention bracket there, take a look at this cover here. It will show you right away where the arrow points. It's not as clear once you take this thing off. So notice that your arrow point is bottom left right there. Maybe different for your motherboard, but most of the ones I've seen have been bottom left. So if you look at the processor here, you'll notice that on you'll see the arrow there. They made it a lot clearer than it used to be, but of course this camera doesn't capture really close-up macro stuff. So we just have to have that bottom left and just gently drop it in, 0 insertion force. Just let gravity do the job, give it a little wiggle, make sure that all the keys, because there's little notches here, make sure it's all keyed correctly, and you're good. Now, do you pull this thing off? No, it does it itself. You just push that down. Whee, there it goes. Don't get rid of this. If you ever have to RMA your motherboard back and you're gonna take off the processor, you gotta put this back in so that the pins don't get bent, and you know what certain companies will say about bent pins, they don't want that.
What the hell are you gonna do as a customer? What do you do? Because you have no recourse. Oops, that wasn't the person we wanted to land on. I knew I can keep the fucking money.
There we go. It will feel like a lot of force. Pushing this down, a lot of force. Just go for it, you're fine. And there you go, see that? So then you can kind of push it a little extra and it locks in place. And you'll see that there are these standoffs, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see how the size of this cutout though? That's why I'm not worried about putting the cooler retention bracket on there yet. I can put it on there afterwards. So that just slides in right there and it will line up with that rectangular opening in the bottom and with those screw standoffs that were right there. Kind of keeps all the circuitry and solder joints on the back of the motherboard from touching the metal here and shorting it out. And that's what those standoffs are for. There we go. Don't over tighten your motherboard. Just make sure the screwdriver doesn't, give it a little bit of hand tightness. That's it. So love this, love this. This is a sort of a homogeneous or one-piece front panel connector because it's so universal. how the pinouts are for your front panel. For those of you who've never built a PC, usually it's a bunch of little tiny connectors that you have to perfectly get in there with the right polarity. So like this is great. This is great. Okay, so this is where our fans are gonna go in front of this, and then of course that's gonna go there, and then this has to like twist to get onto the CPU. So we're gonna have some figuring out to do on how the best way to do that is gonna be. So this part right here goes on the back, and you just gotta line it up. You wanna make sure that they're not uneven, and that just goes over the regular back plate right there. So then you get your actual LGA 1700 retention screws. Now the reason these are so important is because of the distance, how much they actually space out the cold plate from the IHS there. Because I'm gonna need to figure out how best to mount this, I'm gonna go ahead and mount the fans in front of the radiator, and you do have to go tubes down, which is good. Basically, you have to put the fans in between this and put the long screws through it so that it will grab the radiator and the fans. So we just want to get a couple screws in place loosely. You don't tighten your screws so all of them are screwed in. Let's get some cable management done. Let's get things connected, and then we'll get we'll go ahead and put the cooler on after that. I just don't want to have it in the way the whole time. So before I actually put this in there, I'm going to connect all the cables because that is easier, and we like easier. Easier is good. So that's CPU, so VGA doesn't fit, right? So there's VGA, and it fits like a charm. There you go. This side of the 24 pin actually tells you power supply, PSU. Now I can lift this up, and I'm just going to feed this through. So I can then connect it, and I'll have all of my cables in place so I can proceed. It's gonna be cool. It is gonna be cool. I just have to figure out the best way to route, to position this, and I'm thinking this might be it right here, to where it will, yeah, see, these are just gonna wrap around. Oh, it's so sick. Oh, that works so well. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, there we go. Oh, that fits perfectly, man. You know, it was worth the effort and the headache. Totally, totally worth it. We're getting there, guys. We're mostly done. I just got the GPU is the easy part. Just got to put that in last. And I got to wire up the Corsair fans, of course. That's the fun part. Everyone loves it. Everybody, no exceptions. Let's freaking go and just slot this guy in here and show you how. Oh, I got to take the little plastic guy off. There we go. Look at this. Look at how gigantic this card is, and it's just going to go in there. Look at that. That's beautiful. That's the front of the case right there. How freaking sick is this? It's so cool. So yeah, as long as this goes enough in that direction there, it should not have a problem. Look at that. You see? And then the hoses are basically going this route here. Don't know if you can see it, but they're going here. And they're not getting pinched by anything. Now let me get these things all sorted, and then we will get the GPU back in and move on. So this is our Commander Pro right here, or Commander Core, I should say. This is our Commander Core. So you have places for 6 fans, and yeah, and this is your RGB hub right here. These are proprietary RGB connectors. Thanks a lot, Corsair, for doing that. And all you have to do is connect to SATA power, And then it's controlled via USB header, which is on the motherboard. I'll have to get to that in a minute. And this is just going to mount somewhere right there. But we have to run the fans to it, basically. And we got to run this guy to it. This is for the AIO pump. So basically, I put it here. Here we go. This is one of the fans right here. You're going to get your fan connector. There you go. Plug that in right there. And there's their proprietary RGB connector. Now, the actual PWM fan connectors for actually powering the fans, those are not proprietary. Those can go directly to the motherboard, but I'll just run everything through iCUE. That'll be fine. And there you go. Got it. We did it. We did it. We posted, baby. Let's go. That is normal for modern GPUs. They turn off if it's not under load. Relax. Because if you heard these fans right now, and if you could see these fans right now, oh, dude, that looks kind of sick, actually. Look at that. They're running like crazy. Look at that. Would you believe me if I said I want to do more of these? Probably not. There we go, we posted. It's asking for BIOS stuff. There is no ITX build that is actually super easy, and especially when you go against the manufacturer's recommendations and get something that barely fits for your cooler, but it's in there and it is moving some air. Man, this thing moves a ton of air. So I'm confident with all of this airflow up here for the GPU and then the airflow that you're getting to the CPU cooler here, I'm confident this thing's gonna perform really well. Stay tuned for actual numbers backing that up. We're gonna see how this thing does on the trip to PAX East, the journey to PAX East in Boston coming up. If this is releasing Tuesday, we're leaving tomorrow. Keep an eye out for vlog content. Do not miss the panel Thursday, the 21st of April at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be on one of PAX East's Twitch channels, broadcast live from the Albatross Theater with industry insiders, myself, and my buddy Blaston. We're all going to be there and talking about the past, present, and future of PC hardware and how it's going to affect you if you want a gaming PC. So don't miss that. But yes, thank you again to HYTE. Thank you, iBUYPOWER, for making this possible. You guys really came in clutch to make this system possible. I'll show you guys what it looks like in the place we get over in Boston, the setup that I do there. I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, until then, take care.